Hello, everyone. So, in this lesson, I want to spend some time to clean up some of the code that we've been doing until now and do what's called encapsulation. It'll make the code a little bit easier to read and um, make it easier to follow if I, in the future, open this up or something like that. So, I want to go through sections and um, look at what I can encapsulate. I've done okay job so far, but there's some things that I do know that I want to encapsulate. So here we have a function. So this part right here, it's kind of some things that are just setting some default values and whatnot. I think this is all fine because each one of them are a single line. Um, let's see, we are doing this, getting the workspace. Really, with this workspace, we can actually bring it over here so that we're setting variables up on top of this function, and it should still be able to use it. Let's just copy that really quick and double check that that is working, but it should. Yeah, so it's still bringing in the dice because that's what it's using the path for. Should work with anything. There we go. And let's look at the code again. So this is a little bit cleaner what's happening in the loop. First we clean the scene, then we import the dice, and then we do this section here on the first loop. If it's greater than the first time around, then it's going to duplicate and transform. That is fine. Let's look at this and see if maybe we can encapsulate this somehow. We do have a function here already that is creating the random roll. We're getting the total that is being modified from the variable above, and then we are rotating the dice. Let's see if maybe this here, and then we're adding the only thing that really say that we can encapsulate is maybe these two lines. It'll bring it into one, but I'm not going to do that. I want to see if I could get anything that is 5 lines or more, something along those lines. This is all there. I'm going to leave it like that. This part here that we just added in the previous lesson on adding the um, text for the total, I'm going to cut that out and we'll create a function. Let's say print total, and we need the variable total in there. So then I will go, let's put this towards the end. It's the last thing that happens. So say, or define print total, an argument total, and then we can paste all of that in there. And that looks like it will work. So let's copy this and make sure it is running. So when we run this, it still prints the total amount. That's great. Let's look here. Scroll back on top. Okay, so say 23 to 44. It's less than 25 lines. I'm happy with that. Let's look at the individual functions, see if there's anything else that we want to break up. This is a pretty short one and it's easy to tell what's going on. We're just importing the dice, doing the same thing over and over again. So that is fine. The duplicate and transform, if we were to break these apart, it'd be like 4 lines of code, so that's not that bad. It's basically 70, 69 to 96, like about 30. It's a little bit longer than I'd like, but it's fine. With the amount of code there is, it's just the same thing over and over. It reads pretty easy. The random roll, same thing here. It's the same thing happening over and over. We can we simplify this? We could simplify it a little bit and shorten it by putting kind of this section into a function, but I'm going to leave it that way. Rotate dice is really where the big one that I want to fix, because you have all this code in here until the D10 and the rotate percentile, rotate 100. All of those, it's kind of hard to go through and read all of this because it's such a long function. So I am going to break it apart into separate functions, like how I did here. So I have the if dice type equals 10-sided dice, you rotate it with the die roll there. So I'm going to separate that here and do rotate coin die roll for the function, and I'll just make it, I'll put it at the end. So we can say define rotate coin die roll in there. Make sure we're at the right spot. So this is kind of like maybe a little bit shorter than I would like for a function, but since I'm going to be encapsulating all the rest of this big mess here, then I might as well just do the coin as well. So this is for the 4-sided. So rotate 4-sided and what die roll. Fine, rotate 4-sided die roll. There we go. I want to make sure that everything lines up correctly. Go. And then 6-sided. Rotate 6-sided die roll. Rotate 6-sided and oops. die, roll. There's the six-sided code. So you can see at the end what it's kind of going to look like. Here we have the function after the if statement, and then we just have the commands for each one of the settings for that particular option. So we're going to do that with the eight-sided now. Rotate. Eight-sided. Die. Roll. And it looks like I did D10 for those ones. It'd be nice if they were more consistent, but I'm just going to leave it like that to save time on this video. But let's change that. Define, rotate, eight-sided. Oops. Die, roll. Go. And we're getting close to the end now. So we have the 10-sided down. Now we have to get the 10 and the 20-sided. Rotate. D12. Die, roll. Okay. And then paste all that. And now all we have left is this 20-sided. Rotate the 20, die, roll. And die, roll, and paste all that. Oops. The rest of this will be backspace. I believe that's it. There we go. It's all lined up again. And I think this is all going to work. So let's copy this and just double check everything to make sure that there's no syntax errors or anything. Unindent does not match any outer level. So let's go back to our code. And we did quite a bit of stuff here, but really the major part that's not working is the dice rolls, I would assume. So I just want to scroll down here pretty quickly and see if there is anything that I don't see right away that is not indented correctly. And I also want to make sure that I did put a colon at the end, because I feel like maybe I might have forgotten that. Here we can see that the D12 is at a weird level there. Let's see if that was the problem that we had. Copy that and paste it. Yep, it's working now. And let's double check all the coins. Eight-sided. Let's start a new scene really quick. Let's try that eight-sided again. And if I put more, that's fine. There's no issue with the eight-sided. And 12, 20, and percentile. Cool. It all works, and the code should be a little bit easier to read now as we go through it, because it's separated more into functions so that we can actually read what it's happening rather than try to dig through code to find out exactly what is going on. This is probably the more kind of complex, diverse code. Here, if we wanted to, because it is a little confusing, or it can be a little bit confusing, we can add comments, but for the most part, we don't need comments because it just reads. So here we're going to say set the default variables. And then over here, this is going to be our dice roll loop. And actually, now looking at that, we can make this a lot easier. We can encapsulate this as well. Can we? Yeah, we can. So I'm going to say that this will end up being dice roll loop. And then we're going to need variables, which will be num dice, dice type. We don't need to print total here. So we got that happening in the other function. Oh, sorry, that is the function, sorry. Okay, so dice type, and then path, and count, and column, row, total. And then we can say that with this one, we want to return total. Total equals whatever is outputted from this. And then we can take all of this here, cut it, and we'll create another function down here. Say dice roll loop. And actually, I'll put it there for right now, but I'm going to indent this and paste that. And I am just going to copy all of this to make it a little bit easier for me. Define dice roll loop with all the arguments that we have there. So basically we are setting all of the variables. Then actually we don't even need this one. Let's get rid of total here. We kind of do, because this one is looking for a total to start off with, does it? Yeah, we can maybe define it in here if we wanted to. But I'm going to leave it out here, that's fine. And we're printing total. So let's copy this. And we will go into Maya, paste it, make sure it works. It's excited. Okay, the reason it's returning none right now is because it doesn't have a value. Because we're saying total is equal to this, and right now we are actually not doing anything. So we can tell it to return total. Let's put this inside of parentheses. There you go. Now we should get a result in there. And we do. It should work for everything. Cool. So now that we have that done, it's pretty well encapsulated now. And we can work with this pretty easily. We go through and basically if we go to the end, the only line of code that's ran in the main section is the UI. And actually this random seed, if we wanted to, we can put it inside of the UI so that it runs when we're doing that, because we don't really want to seed it more than once. That's the reason I left it out here. But if you wanted to, you can encapsulate it somewhere else. Or you can tell it at the end, which might be better. You can take this and before we run UI, we'll do the 2 lines of code here. So we have the random seed and then the UI, which are the 2 lines of code that we're running, and then the rest of it is actually encapsulated in all the functions that we've built up on top. The main thing after we create the UI here is the button press. So like I said, we are looking here. We are setting default variables. Then after all these default variables are set here, we are running the loop and changing the total value and then printing the total. And even this, we can put it inside of that loop here if we wanted to. I think I like it that way better. And we don't have to return total. It's a little bit less confusing, I think. There we go. So let's get that and paste it in here, run it, and it works. Great. So that is encapsulation of our project. I'm going to try to keep it clean from here on out and separate everything into functions the way we have right now. But we might have a couple more lessons where we do some more things to make it a little bit more user friendly. All right. See you guys in the next lesson.